In other news, China is denying allegations of spying on Britain, urging the UK to stop hyping up groundless claims. Britain's security minister had accused China of interfering with sovereign affairs after the MI5 issued an espionage alert yesterday, warning that Chinese spies are targeting British Parliament and parliamentary staff. And for more on this, Stuart Smith is covering this story for CNA from London. Now, Stuart, this latest spy threat, that's nothing new. Can you walk us through how the UK is planning to counter it?
Well, the latest we've heard from the Speaker of the House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle, is that he's very concerned about the threat that any potential Chinese spying poses to effectively his parliamentarians. It's his job to try and help secure Parliament from intrusion by foreign powers. And reportedly, he's been talking to the European Parliament about some efforts they put in to try and counteract some alleged accusations of spying, where they restricted, for example, the access of Chinese lobbyists into their parliament. He's looking at potentially doing something similar for Westminster. There's also this suggestion from the government that it's going to be trying to renew its most encrypted, strongest, most secure technology for civil servants, providing another way that they can try to keep themselves safe from these alleged spying attacks. But what MI5, the UK's domestic security intelligence service, said the threat was in its latest warning to lawmakers was that they're being approached online. So it's not so much about physical access to Westminster or, for example, hacking. It's about approaches from people, in this case, reportedly posing as headhunters, approaching parliamentarians or their staff or people that have access to the building behind me, and using that as a way in to try to get information that is either not public, or then they suggest, having made inroads with certain people, trying to get information which might be more severely classified. But no allegation from MI5 that anything as yet has been leaked, but the Speaker emphasising that he believes the Chinese state is trying to get access to parliamentarians for information, though something it categorically denies it's doing.
Now, Stuart, UK is in quite a tricky spot here. It needs to navigate calls for more Chinese threat reviews, but also foster close ties at the same time. So how exactly does Britain plan to do that?
That's right. Keir Starmer has wanted from the beginning of his time as Prime Minister to try and cultivate stronger ties with China, though with the caveat that the UK will challenge Beijing when appropriate. But each time this comes up, every time it seems the UK tries to take a step closer towards cooperation with China, a new challenge comes up. There's the mega embassy in the city of London, the plans for the Chinese Foreign Ministry to build what would be the largest embassy in Europe, but a very controversial proposal at that, and one the government has now twice pushed off making a decision on. There's also the concern about ministerial visits to China. Some are expected before the end of the year from UK government ministers, the science minister and the education secretary, potentially even a national security advisor. Now, the opposition say those kinds of visits should be cancelled when the UK is struggling with these threats of Chinese spying. But at the same time, the UK government doesn't want to completely cut off its relationship with Beijing. And that's a struggle for Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, and one which he's trying to navigate, while the opposition says he should be tougher on China. And certainly these ministerial visits is one thing the opposition points to that should not go ahead.
Stuart, thank you so much for that update. That was Stuart Smith for CNA live from London.